Our first speaker this evening is Alex Knowles, who's going to talk about wrestling the Kraken. Well, apparently that's a metaphor. He's not actually going to talk about wrestling the Kraken, but he is going to talk about taming a monolithic code base.
Hello, I'm Alex Knowles. I'm an engineer here at Zoopla. I work in the infrastructure team, but I'm a power hacker, and I'm currently seconded onto a fairly large replatforming project. So, Zoopla's 10 years old. No, it's more than that, isn't it? The Zoopla software is at least 10 years old. And anyone who's worked at Love Film or into any of that family of companies will probably recognise some of it. So it's grown organically within a monolithic structure. I'm not here to slag off who became before. 10 years ago I was writing code like that. So it's worked for a very long time. It's made lots of money, and certainly makes sense at the time. That's how you build it. All apps use the same code, so each app being a website, for instance, or a worker, or a queue monitor, or it all uses the same code base from the same repository, quite often with dependencies across apps. So this makes deployment difficult. Logic is scattered throughout all the layers, including Mason templates, including raw SQL in the Mason templates. It requires a very specific environment in which to run. So specific configurations, specific machines, super globals. And there's a tangle of very specific library dependencies. And then also the internal dependencies within that. That's a high level, that's the top level dependency diagram of our code. Note the delicious circular dependencies. So, there we are. There's a somewhat cumbersome manual release process where to deploy any part of the code or any of the apps, you have to do the whole lot. And it's done manually once a week.
How long does it take?
It's not too bad. Let's say an hour. It's basically stop, pull, start across all the machines. And there's helper functions and things like that. So, a plan. This talk is liberally scattered with Tim Toady, and I'm sure you will tell me that I'm an idiot for doing it my way, but yeah, whatever. So, our current release process, we have an AWS fleet. It's got an AMI, a custom AMI with all our dependencies baked in. They're not replaced, or very, very infrequently. That must be a security thing. Fix OpenSSH again. So the release is pull all the new dependencies. There's a release branch that's cut by hand. It's not actually cut by hand anymore, it's automated by Jenkins. Stop, git checkout, restart on each machine. So, proposed release process. Still using AWS. Move everything into Docker. You can have a consistent environment, you can do blue-green with it. Replace the fleet using Terraform, spin up your brand new fancy Docker images, and then switch your CNAME or whatever.
What's Terraform?
Terraform is an automated provisioning system. You define the shape of the service, and go! And it goes off and does stuff with the endpoint.
So it's like chef, puppet,
It's more for, yes, but more for infrastructure. So it will spin up AWS instances. So you say, I want this ELB with these instances. We could do this with ECS. When we started this, ECS was still a little immature. I suspect we'll revisit that. And preferably hands off. So that's what we like. So, simplify the release. remove internal dependencies. This is easy enough, it's asset shuffling basically. So for instance, there's an app uses another one to send emails. So you can't release that app on its own without releasing the email app, and so on. So have that app run its own email service, etc. Build Monolith release branch automatically. We do. So managing our external module dependencies, we move to CPAN files, which means because our code has specific dependencies, we pin them. An easy way is actually to use Pinto, so we've started using that where give me all my dependencies and we'll just give you the versions that are in Pinto, and you can tag them and put one in development, one in production, and pull the correct dependencies down. Then Dockerize our apps. So then the next bit, split the monolith. As you saw, there's a huge tangle of dependencies. It makes testing really hard because it's testing a huge part of code. It makes the cadence of development on your monolith difficult. So untangle them, starting with utils. As I said, there's all sorts of stuff all the way through our code, and lots of it's dependent on the environment in which it's run. We've got mod Perl code liberally scattered throughout our libraries. So try and crawl these things apart. Build some standard tools to make that easier, so that you can build boilerplate stuff and standardize the way that you manage your new libraries. And yeah, better, quicker testing. Automate. Tame, massive. Here, I'm using Jenkins 2, which allows you to deploy a pipeline as code, tells you your code. I quite like Jenkins. It's a pain, but once you get over the pain, it's lovely. And I'm almost over the pain. And although there's some sort of Stockholm thing going on, I think. But I get to learn Groovy. The Helsinki? What's the syndrome? That one. So the other part is a re-platforming project, which is what I'm actually working on. So the presentation layer is moving to Node. Our web devs don't like Mason.
Does anyone
I'm not going to touch that one. So we're replacing our apps, which do all the presentation, with an API layer. Then you've got a data services, a data layer, either with a database or a data service. You've got an API layer where you squash the logic into that layer. Got our fancy Node apps, and then we've got a popular CDN that some of you might know. Details. Right. Modularizing our database. So I built, we built a standard tool, and you can make a new one, a new module. It will build the build.pl, which includes the correct plugins, which does stuff our way. So that's module starter, does the boilerplating. Mod build plugins is on back into module build, and actually all it does is adds a push method to inject it into CPAN file, so that we can use dependencies from the CPAN file, and the whole lot runs, builds everything within its own Docker containers that you've got standardized. And then Pinto, tab harness JUnit so that it spits stuff out into Jenkins, and you get nice frame graphs and explorable JUnit stuff. And finally, roll everything that we've got up into one module and then use it as a dependency. I got some notes about distiller and stuff, and the standard question I was kind of expecting was why module build, and it's because, and it probably shows my age, in that when I was last doing this, I don't know, and it worked. So there's probably fancier, smarter ways of doing this, but your mileage may vary. So we've got continuous deployments as well. We've all the different layers that I showed you, all the different apps. We're simplifying all our apps to be single concern. They can all be independently and automatically released. We've got versioning on our APIs. We will have versioning on our APIs. But all the modules within them are all built and pushed to their respective repositories, and everything is lovely dependency managed. We're using Docker, Jenkins pipelines, and Terraform. And this is our party trick. At the moment, the deployment window is a week. Ours is 20 minutes, and on every commit. It's lovely. In all our sprint demos, we do a live release, just to show that we can. The 20 minutes is, we're having weirdness around Docker, to be honest. And so we spin up a fleet, and then it takes ages to pull images and stuff like that, and we'll get there eventually. So this is our Jenkins stuff. This is slightly out of date, but you can see that we've got 10 minutes per stage. There's an approval gate, so that you can manually approve. It does concurrent builds, but locks resources so that you can go up to a certain point. You get a nice test result. This is actually the node one that I'm standardizing our Jenkins file because we can. And I don't think I've got a picture of it, but there's another step now which is response time testing as well, so you can see trends in response time. I'm using Gatling, which is written in Scala, so I got to learn Scala as well. Seriously, this week I've written Perl, Python, Groovy, Scala, Bash. Yeah, welcome to DevOps. So, and inside this stage it's also running Cucumber, Gherkin test as well. So we've got functional testing and unit testing at this stage. There'll be another one which is slightly deeper functional testing once we hire an automated QA tester. Because I'm not going to write that. But yeah, so it's cool, and it's a stage, and you can do it live and hands off. And with the GitLab Jenkins plugin, you can write a comment on a merge request and ask Jenkins to rebuild it, and it goes off. And this is some Groovy. And yeah, there must be a better way to do this. And there isn't actually. I've tidied that up since this slide. But so you define stages, you notify Slack, so it tells us what's going on. Service CTLs are wrapped around Terraform, so we Terraform, you write huge chunks of JSON, and this just does it with command line arguments, which is, let's say, easier. Yeah. So that's some of our stuff, and all the stages then convert into the nice pipeline that we saw. As I said, it ties in really nicely to GitLab, which we use. Ties in even better to GitHub, which we don't. And this is our Jenkins Slack bot going, everything's fine. And actually, that was probably from the time when we weren't actually reporting errors. So it was our Slack channel was based in the management reporting, where it's like, everything's fine, don't worry. Meanwhile, everything's on fire around the corner. So that's it. That's it.
So do you use GitLab.com, or you have your own GitLab?
We have our own GitLab. We don't have enterprise. We have the normal
GitLab
community, yeah, we're cheapskates. And everything works the same, but it's a lot easier if you pay the money. So, thank you.
Why did you choose Docker? It's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. You could do all this with Puppet or something like that. It's quite nice. I like the consistent environment traveling up the stages. including on a developer's machine where you know if it's building on a developer's machine, it's not building because they've got their own versions and modules, and type of Pinto that makes it really tightly coupled. It adds wrinkles, definitely, and it adds wrinkles to development, but it does work. And the staged pushing is a really, you know that on QA. One of the things that we've got with our Monolith is just weird flags around what environment you're in and what stage you're in, and you get exciting emergent bugs because it worked in QA. But yeah, so I don't really know an amazing answer to why Docker, but it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, in the new architecture you're working towards, the API you're using, is it the same API that you expose to third parties?
No. So not yet. We have an existing API that runs as an app in our Monolith. We're building a new one, and eventually that will feed the public API. It will be, but it's not at the moment. We're also only doing this one page at a time. So we're starting with the detail page for when you look at the house, you get the fancy. Yeah. Did I put any BCL in this? No, I didn't, because I'm not allowed to talk about. Well, I probably am, but I'm not going to talk about who we're using. But yeah, who could it be?
Was it in one of your slides?
No, I thought I.
It was the name of CDN in one of your slides.
There was.
I thought I was
The
so
service
close.
CTL switch.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we're using them, and also with Terraform, you can deal with them as well. I'm working on that, and there'll be a pipeline for deploying our changes to CDN. That's probably all. Oh, one more thing. We're hiring.
So what was the business driver? Did the business say, I need deployment times down to 20 minutes, or did the engineering guys go and say, we can give you 20 minutes? Is that interesting?
Probably a bit of both. The cycle of releases, you can argue good business value for faster releases.
But did the business come to you and say, I need faster releases, or did you go to the business and say, I can give you faster releases?
That.
This is the perfect thing where people can have a conversation during the break. Good question, Mark. So yeah, there will be a break for more.